Hey guys, and welcome to another week of a WoW Weekly with Myst. And we have a lot of interesting things for this week. There is a ton of news and just a lot going on. So we will start with our normal start, my goals, what I accomplished, all that. So last week's goals were to obtain the B mount and have a Mythic +9 done in retail. And the WoW Classic goals were just to do anything regarding leveling my druid. All those have been completed. I haven't done the 9 yet this week, but what I did is I made that the goal because when I created that video, I hadn't done my Mythic yet, and I snuck a Mythic 9 in, like, basically the day that posted. So yeah, but I am going to try to get at least a 9 done this week. I'm holding an 8 key right now as it stands, so I'm sure we'll get it done. So yeah, and I did get the B mount. There will be a video coming out. It'll probably be on the channel tomorrow, actually. And yeah, so I obtained that. The B mount's super cute. And I also did some druid leveling. Got 1 level in, and that was basically it. There were some other things I accomplished that weren't goals. And one was, because I totally forgot that was, even although I mentioned it in that video that it was Dark Moon, I forgot that I'd probably be leveling some alts. So I actually got my Hunter to 120, and I put on a level into the Priest. So we are starting to get the rest of our alts at 120. I also raised my item level, so that's an accomplishment, I guess. So the item level is 331. And I also finished the island quest chain. You know, when you do like your 3 rounds or weeks of islands, and then you get the quest for your essence on the board, and then that quest leads to like another one that eventually leads to the actual rank 3 essence. Well, I finally did that. So I do have the rank 3 essence. I'm also neck level 66, and yeah, so all in all, it was a pretty good week. I accomplished quite a bit of stuff. Okay, so this week's weekly events are, it's going to be pet battles. It'll also be the PvP Brawl Deep Wind Dunk. And Hollow's End is going to start on Saturday. So yeah, there is that. For a lot of people, that's not really too much of a week. Normally, I'm the same way. I feel like, easy week. But I really need to level some of those pets. I have so many max level, but one thing I have noticed is when you start kind of delving in more into some of the, you know, I don't want to call it end game, but the tougher pet battle type stuff, like dungeons and like celestial tournament, shit like that, you need specific pets, and there are no alternatives you can really use if you don't have that one pet. Max level, you're pretty much screwed and you can't do the event. And I've known that for a while, but I've been like, you know, 1, I hate leveling pets. And 2, it takes so long for the event to come back. So I think I'm going to take advantage of that for this week. So that's going to be my goal, to get, not all of them, because there are a lot of pets in my list that I need to level. But at least get some of them. As for the Hollows event, that is the Halloween event. I'm sure you kind of gathered that. I have all the achievements, so I'm not sure what I'll do. I have the mount as well. So we'll just see. I'll look at it when it shows up, see if there's some new pets or new toys or something, but it may be a don't need to do event, but we'll see. So yeah, basically the goal for retail will be pet battles. If I could get even just one pet leveled, I'm not going to make it a huge goal, but at least one pet leveled would be nice. And I'm going to aim for a Mythic plus 10. The last time I did a Mythic plus 10, I completed it, but it wasn't like done in time. So Mythic plus 10 done in time. And that's all I plan on having for goals over on retail side. And that concludes our goal segment of this video. Now on to the news. Okay, so for some retail news, the PTR opened up. There is a lot of cool stuff over there. I have done some recordings, so I will show off some of that stuff in next week's videos. I will tag it as spoilers, just so you know. So if you don't want to know anything regarding the next patch, then you just know not to watch the video. And yeah, so there is new and kind of like invasions. They are very cool. And they have a lot to do with sanity and stuff. So these invasions happen in two different areas. One is Vale of Eternal Blossoms, which is awesome. I wasn't a huge fan of the expansion itself compared to other expansions, but I do still think they put together the Panda worlds very well. And I always really liked Vale of Eternal. And the other area is Uldum. When I went to do the video, that scenery is in Vale. If I happen to see another one in Uldum, I'll do another one just to show you guys the two different areas. But yeah, so there will be an upcoming video showing off the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Titan assaults is what they're calling them. And they're very similar to like the Legion invasions or even the BFA incursions. Well, in a sense, I guess like they are in what they happen to be. But when you get there, you're going to see a very different atmosphere. Yeah, it's interesting because the whispers are still there. So you're like hearing the whispers. And there's places that you'll just like get sucked into, and yeah. Okay, so next up is Nyalotha raid. That one looks really cool. Probably not going to do a video on that one. I tend to just kind of steer towards the quick content that I can show off to you guys. And when it comes to the raid and anything that maybe has commentary, like in-game commentary, I try to stay away from that because I don't really like spoils either, but I'm okay with some like changes as far as spoils. But as far as like the raid goes and new dungeons and campaign stuff, which won't really be there, but stuff like that, I like to be surprised as well, so I tend to not really go into those with the PTR. So a little info of the raid is it's 12 boss raid, and that's the final boss. The location is a little funky, easy to find though. But basically how it works is in the video that you see me upload in a couple of days where I do the assault, I do turn the camera towards the raid. Now, the only reason I see the raid is because the assault is in Vale, right? If the assault is in Uldum, then that's where the raid will be. So that's how to remember where the raid is. It changes locations depending on where the assault is happening at the time. So, long story short, it could be in Vale of Eternal Blossom, or it could be in Oldham. Okay, so another thing, and this doesn't really have to do with the raid, so I'm just going to clarify that since I am going to shout out a piece of gear here. But there is a legendary cloak that we will have access to. And I'm probably going to butcher the name, but it is Azrakama's Shroud of Resolve. And as you can see, there is... the reduced sanity loss from sources, I could see that being a big thing. There is another video that I recorded that you will see me do, and it was actually done when I went to Silithus, to the Heart, to see if there was anything to do over there, and I spotted this portal, so I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? So I click on it, and it sends me into this whole kind of scenario thing. And a lot of that, I thought I was going to die so many times in this scenario. You'll see when you watch the video. But basically, your sanity gets lost, and then it comes back. And yeah, so this cloak will be good for maybe kind of keeping your sanity there so you can keep doing stuff. But there's definitely a sanity thing, which of course automatically makes me think of Alder. Because, back in the day when that wasn't, a solo one-shot kill run and it was a legit raid group, having to use mechanics, he had a lot to do with sanity. And that scenario that I talk about, it is called the Horrific Visions. So if you read anywhere, Horrific Visions, that's what the scenario is. And you can go with 1 to 5 people. But I do like the idea that you can go solo or with a group. Also, another thing that will be in the patch is something called Titan Research. From my understanding, the more you apply stuff to your Titan Research, the further you can go when you're doing the Horrific Visions. So over time, you'll probably discover newer mobs to kill and newer scenery or whatever. Like, it opens up more battles for you. I decided to add this picture in as well. These 2 things you see beside Mother. The one on the left was the portal I took to Stormwind to do the Horrific Vision. The one on the right is the Horde portal, so it takes you to Orgrimmar to do the Horrific Vision. So I just thought I'd, point that out. That way when the patch drops and you see that, you know where that's leading you to. It will lead you to the Horrific Visions, which you will see in an upcoming video this week. Now, another thing that will be in the new patch is the Volpera and the Mechanome allied races. Definitely the Volpera are Horde, which was a little upsetting, I have to admit, but whatever. We got a B mount recently. I guess you can have something, whatever, Horde. The only reason I feel that way is because the Mechanome, no offense to anyone that really wants to create one, but the Volpera is new, right? The Mechanome is just a different version of a gnome class that's been in the game since 2004, So it's the same issue I had with the Lightforged Draenei. It's a Draenei. You just changed it into a slight different look. Same with the High Mountain Taurens. They were just slightly altered, and yeah. And even the Void Elves, they were just another elf, right? One complaint I have noticed so far, but it is early in the PTR, that maybe they'll change it. But I have some friends that like to play gnomes, and they all tend to like to have pink hair because, everyone's got pink hair, I guess. And yeah, that's a color you can't do. It seems to be natural colors like you see in this picture where you can see she's got like brunette or whatever for a color. So the next piece of news is the Titan forging. It's not going away, but it sounds like it's going to be replaced with something else. Yeah, the line they've said is that it may be replaced with something more twisted and corrupt. So there's two kind of bad things in that sentence right there. The worst one is Titan forging may be replaced. That means they might not even do anything. It might just be, rumor that doesn't even, something that doesn't even occur. And, and the second is I don't really want it replaced. I want it gone, So, I don't know. You'll have to let me know what you guys think of that. Like, I personally think that Titan forging has destroyed WoW, more or less. I think it's time to just completely remove it. And, of course, in the new patch, there will be the Season 4 Mythics. I am not totally sold on the theme for the last theme. Maybe it'll grow on me, but basically what it is it's corrupted will be the new effects. And what that does is you'll occasionally see what is like a Black Empire thing. And interacting with it puts you into an alternate world. From my understanding, it's one player that gets put into the alternate world, but don't quote me, there hasn't been testing yet, so I'll check it out when it comes available. But from my understanding, you get put into an alternate world and you'll have some stuff to kill. If you ignore them, like, you can ignore them and continue your dungeon, but they could come back to you at like the worst time and wipe you. So it sounds like it's better to just deal with them, when they appear, kill them. And so basically there'll be like small scarabs that spawn and they have like a detonation on them. And the boss casts some green venom ability of some sort. And rumor is that because of how it's all set up, there is more leniency to actually doing skips while you're in these dungeons. So I guess we'll just see how that pans out, because I kind of wonder if you skipped, then do you have the fixability really hitting you hard at the end of a dungeon? I guess it all depends on, if you are truly skipping. I guess the good part is you won't be so reliant on a rogue, because I know for this season of affixes, rogues have been, like, you'll see a lot of groups that specify that their remaining DPS they want in there as a rogue. And it's because rogues are good for the skips. They can open up doors and shit. So yeah, this new affix, it sounds interesting, but it also, on one side, it sounds like it would be too easy because from my understanding, clicking the stones or whatever that are in the dungeon would create skips. But then on another side, you could end up with a shitload of ads on you on the last boss, which in turn could just be like wipe after wipe after wipe. So I don't know, I guess we'll just see how it all works, yeah. Okay, so that's basically all the news I have for you regarding the PTR stuff. Now, I did kind of pre-record a video here having to do with some Warcraft Reforged info, so we'll check that out. Okay, so here we have some Warcraft Reforged stuff releasing. I imagine we're starting to get news regarding it because I imagine at BlizzCon we're gonna actually get a release date. Because right now, like all year, the release date's been the last day of the year, which is what a lot of companies do when they don't have an official release date. So I imagine we're going to be able to play this game pretty soon. So here's some screenshots I just thought we'd go over. Okay, and this is how you can unlock them, because you won't have access right away. So we'll just scroll down the list in case you guys are interested in how to unlock them. My God, that picture, jeez. I like that one. It is not out yet. They're just starting to throw out more info to probably hype us up for BlizzCon. And with any luck, we'll have a release date soon. And there's one more piece of news I have for the retail side. And to be perfectly honest, it could go in any side because it's Blizzard news. But I'm sure you guys have heard of the recent info or issue, I guess we'll call it, between Blizzard and Hong Kong. Basically, what was going on, in case you aren't aware, is Hearthstone was having a tournament, not this past weekend that just passed, but the weekend before that. And a player named Blitzchung was talking to two of his showcasters regarding the events that are happening out in Hong Kong. And it was on Blizzard's channel, of course, and because it falls in politics, Blitzchung had gotten a 1-year ban. And since then, Blizzard has kind of given an apology letter. I feel like it took them a little long to give an apology letter. It was a pretty big thing over the internet for, at least a few days before their apology letter came into the picture. So they did kind of say they may have overreacted a bit, and they put his ban from a 1 year to a 6 month now. And yeah, so that has been some pretty big news going around all over the place. Me personally, I don't really like to talk about politics while I'm recording games and stuff or streaming games. And the reason for that is because that's my escape. I like to escape the world in my games. So I tend to like to not talk about anything real serious at all, to be honest. So yeah, like my personal thoughts on the matter is I don't think he should have gone the 1 year. But I do think he should have gone something, because, and I don't think that because of the politic thing. I think that because it clearly states it in Blizzard's rules that you don't talk about politics while you're doing a championship or esports of theirs of any kind. So they've already kind of told you what they want, and they're the ones paying you. So, it's kind of like, you go to a job. If you follow the rules, you get a paycheck. If you don't follow the rules, you get canned. Same scenario in my mind. There was something, it sounds like they retracted on this, but there was something like an article stating that they weren't going to pay him his winning prize money. And that part I think's wrong. He was already, he already did the stuff and all that. I feel like he should get the prize money, which apparently he is now, so, and yeah. But do I think he should have gone banned? Yes. Do I think a year was too long? Yes. Do I think the 6 months that it is right now is too long? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I think 6 months probably is good because it's, as far as I'm aware, Blitzchung is not new to the esports. I don't really watch Hearthstone. Hearthstone isn't really my game, but I'm a streamer, so when I'm on Twitch, I do notice names pop up here and there, and I knew his name. So, in my opinion, he had to have already known those rules. I'm sure he's read those same rules over and over. So, I feel I know a lot of the fan base is very much against Blizzard right now and all that. Me personally, rules have to be put in place, and if you just let someone get off scot-free from breaking the rules, then that tells other people that they can break the rules. And so in my personal opinion, I just think Blizzard was kind of stuck in a fucking corner, pretty much. They were damned if they did and damned if they didn't. Because if they didn't do anything, if there was no punishment, people are going to walk over those rules. And if there is punishment, you got people fucking, you know how it is. everyone thinks they know everything when this shit happens. Like, yeah, I was laughing through most of this news because, you know, there were YouTubers that like are known for, you know, doing WoW content, and their fan base is WoW. And they were basically saying that they're not gonna play WoW because of it, or, you know, and it just, it spiraled so fucking fast. It just spiraled so fast. And then there were people on Twitter saying they were uninstalling. I even made a tweet regarding that one, saying that uninstalling WoW doesn't mean shit, because it really doesn't. If you uninstall WoW, walk away for like 5 years, you'll come back to exactly where you left off. You know? If you delete a character, you could retrieve that character, you know, later on. However, if there's any way to show you're serious, I'd rather, like, I think I'd see serious more in the deletion of a character than I would the uninstall. But, yeah, Blizzard does make it so that you can always return. Okay, so that is all I'm going to say on the topic. Yeah, I guess we're on Classic. So yeah. Yeah, I already said my goals, so we'll go over the goals one last time at the very end of the video. So let's move over to the Classic side of things. Okay, so for Classic, as you can see, I'm still leveling my Druid. It's been kind of casual over here. I putz around, and then I log out, and then I putz around, and yeah, nothing too terribly serious. I'm trying to kind of play it cool on the Classic side of things because I play so much of, you know, retail, and, you know, that's just my progression games, so yeah. So anyway, there is not a whole lot of Classic news, but there is something exciting. So Dire Mall opens up tomorrow, and pretty much Dire Mall is a place that everyone can go to. There is lots of loot out there. And once again, I did mention it in last week's video, but I'm just going to re-mention it, that this does not mean that Phase 2 is out tomorrow. They're releasing Dire Mall separately from the Phase 2 content. So you'll have access to Dire Mall, but Phase 2 probably won't be till after BlizzCon. Actually, it definitely won't be till after BlizzCon. As for loot, there is, maybe you guys remember the cooking pattern, the Runtum Tuber Surprise. There is that. You do need to be 275 to learn it, and it is a BOP item. And there's also the Crescent Key that drops out of the East End. So is that cooking recipe. So the East End is the cooking recipe and the Crescent Key. Dire Mall North also has a key called the Gordok Shackle Key. And some of you may also remember the Gordok Tribute. And there is one item in there worth noting. It's called the Treant's Bane. It is a purple. And it's a 2-hand axe. It has 25 strength, 15 stamina, and it improves your chance to get a critical strike by 2%. So I imagine there's going to be quite a few people trying to get that. There is also an engineering pattern out there. It is the Major Recomba... I'm going to so butcher the name. Recombulator. I am so bad with words sometimes. And basically what it does is it dispels polymorph effects on targets, and it also restores 375 to 625 health and mana. And it has a 5-minute cooldown. And the mats to make it are pretty easy too. It takes 2 thorium tubes, a true silver transformer, and 2 rune cloths. So pretty simple. And it has 10 charges. There are also books you can get in Dire Maul. Most of them are trinkets. The warriors and paladins are the lucky ones that can start something cool from their book, but I will let you know who gets what. The druid will get a book, and keep in mind all these books, except for the final last one, which will be warrior and paladin, but all the trinkets have 10 fire resistance, so I'm not going to keep saying that. So 10 fire resistance on all the trinkets. So the Druid's Trinket increases healing done by spells and effects by up to 44. The Hunter's Trinket gives them 48 ranged attack power. The Mage Trinket allows them to restore 8 mana per 5 seconds. The Paladin Trinket gives them 150 armor and increases healing done by spells and effects by up to 22. The Priest Trinket increases healing done by spells and effects by up to 33, and it also restores 4 mana per 5 seconds. The Rogue Trinket improves your chance to hit by 2%. The Shaman Trinket increases your damage and healing done by magic spells and effects up to 23. The Warlock Trinket increases your damage and healing done by magic spells and effects by up to 23. The Warrior Trinket gives you 200 armor. Now, this is where it gets a little cool. The Warrior and the Paladin have another book that they can get, and it's called the Forer's Compendium of Dragonslaying. And so it will start up a quest for the Quilsarar. And that is a main hand sword. The chance on hit for it is when active grants the wielder 13 defense and 300 armor for 10 seconds. This is going to be something people are going to be hunting down, if you're warrior or paladin. And there is also a ton of gear you can get and all that. I am not going to shout out every piece of gear, but what I will do is in the description of this video, I'll put the Wowhead link in. You can go to that link and you can just look at it yourself. So definitely check the description if you're interested in knowing all the gear that's in here. I just shouted out the important ones. The ones that pretty much everyone would be interested in knowing about, like cooking or engineering pattern, shit like that. Okay, guys, so I know it was a bit of a longer video for this week's. There was a lot of info. As for the complete list of goals, I have no real goals for Classic. My main goal this week is going to be those pet battles over on retail. So, yeah, we're just going to keep that the goal. So, this week's goals for me is level some pets and do a Mythic plus 10. And yeah, so that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your thoughts in the comments section. Let me know what you think on some of these topics that I discussed. And yeah, that's all I got. Have a great one, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.